Okay. Maury was given a grant to observe mental patients and record their treatments. While the idea seems common today, it was groundbreaking in the early 50s. Maury saw patients who would scream all day, patients who would cry all night, patients soiling the underwear, patients refusing to eat, having to held down, medicate, fed intravenously. One of the patients, a middle-aged woman, came out of her room every day and lay face down on the tile floor. Stayed there for hours as doctors and nurses stepping around her. Murray watched it in horror. He took notes, which it was he was there to do. Every day she did the same thing. Came out in the morning, lay on the floor, stayed there until the evening, talking to no one, ignored by everyone. It saddened Maury. ¿Es así?
It,
Saddened?
it saddened. Uh-huh.
It saddened Maury. He began to sit on the floor with her, even lay down alongside her, trying to draw her out of her misery. Eventually, he got her to sit up and even to return to her room. What she mostly wanted, he learned, was the same thing many people want: someone to notice she was there.
Maury worked at Chestnut Lodge for 5 years. Although it wasn't encouraged, he befriended some of the patients, including a woman who joked with him about how lucky she was to be there. Because my husband is rich, so he can afford it. Can you imagine if I had to be in one of those cheap mental hospitals? Another woman who would spit at everyone else took to Maury and called him her friend. They talked each day, and the staff was at least encouraged that someone had gotten through her. But one day she ran away, and Maury was asked to help bring her back. They tracked her down in a nearby store, hiding in the back, and when Maury went in, she burned an angry look at him. So you're one of them too, she snarled. One of who? My jailers. Maury observed that most of the patients there had been rejected and ignored in their lives, made to feel that they didn't exist. They also missed compassion, something the staff ran out of quickly. And many of these patients were well off from rich families, so their wealth did not buy them happiness or contentment. It was a lesson he never forgot.
I used to tease Maury that he was stuck in the 60s. He would answer that the 60s weren't so bad compared to the times we live in now. He came to Brandeis after his work in the mental health field, just before in the 60s began. Within a few years, the campus became a hotbed for cultural revolution, drug, sex, race, Vietnam protest. Abby Hoffman attended Brandeis, so did Jerry Rubin and Angela Davis. Murray had many of the radical students in his classes. That was partly because instead of simply teaching, the sociology faculty got involved. It was fiercely anti-war, for example. When the professor learned that the students who did not maintain a certain grade point average could lose their deferments and be drafted, they decided not to give any grades. When the administration said, if you don't give these students grades, they will all fail, Murray had a solution. Let's give them all A's. And they did. Just as the 60s opened up the campus, it also opened up the staff in Murray's department. From the jeans and sandals they now wore when working to their view of the classroom as living, breathing place, they choice discussions over lectures, experience over theory. They send students to the Deep South for civil rights projects and to the inner city for fieldwork. They went to Washington for protest marches, and Murray often rode the buses with his students. On one trip, he watched with gentle amusement as women in flowing skirts and love beds put flowers in soldiers' guns, then sat on the lawn, holding hands, trying to levitate the Pentagon. They didn't move it, he later recalled, but it was a nice ride. One time, a group of black students took over for a hall on the Brady's campus, dropping it in a banner that read Malcolm X. ¿Cómo se pronunciaría aquí? Like,
Sí,
nada más,
pues son, sí,
X University. For Hall had chemistry labs, and some administrations officials worried that these radicals were making bombs in the basement.
very good.
Maury knew better. He have gone on even longer if Murray hadn't been walking by the building when one of the protesters recognized him as a favorite teacher and yelled for him to come in through the window. An hour later, Murray crawled through the window with a list of what the protesters wanted. He took the list to the university president, and the situation was diffused. Murray always made a good peace. At Brandeis, he taught classes about social psychology, mental illness and health, group process. They were light on what you now call career skills and heavy on personal development. And because of this, business and law students today might look at Morris as foolishly naive about his contributions. How much money did his students go on to make? How many big time cases did they win? Then again, how many business or law students ever visited their old professors once they leave? Morris students did that all the time. And in his final months, they come back to him. Hundreds of them. From Boston, New York, California, London, and Switzerland. From corporate offices and inner city school programs. They called, they wrote, they drove hundreds of miles for a visit. A word is mine. I've never had another teacher like you, they all said.
Ay. ¿Han visto, me acordé ahorita, una serie que es viejísima que se llama Los Años Maravillosos, The Wonder Years? ¿La conocen?
Sí.
Hay un capítulo, no tú no, Edith. Yo tampoco la conocía, nada más porque tengo un amigo que es más grande que yo y me la súper recomendó porque me mandó un video que es, o sea, un capítulo y se trata de la maestra, o sea, de la maestra. Miren, vamos a buscarlo para que me salga. Lo tienen que ver. Vean todas mis búsquedas de mis clases. A ver, creo que no sé, The Wonder Years. The Teacher. Ay, no sé cuál es. Bueno, no sé cuál es, pero, o sea, es esta serie, pero ahorita se los mando al grupo, porque tengo el link en mi WhatsApp. Entonces ahorita se los mando al grupo para que en una chancita que tengan lo vean, porque está increíble ese capítulo, lloré demasiado. Y se trata así, o sea, de que la maestra pues hace cosas diferentes en su salón, pasa esto de que las calificaciones dicen, hombre, todos van a tener de que A's así, pero luego dice un niño de que, pero ¿cómo? De que, ¿cómo que nos vas a poner a todos de que A? Y ella dice, pues es que ustedes mismos se van a calificar, o sea, si tú crees que te mereces una A, pues ahí se va a quedar, pero si tú crees que no te la mereces, tú me vas a pedir que la cambie. Pues empieza a hacer todo un show, porque pues obviamente los directores estaban de que no, y ella estaba como en contra del sistema, y tenía clases bien padres, de que no nada más en el salón, lo sacaba al patio y así, entonces me recordó mucho ese capítulo, se los voy a mandar para que lo vean, que está muy padre. Sigue tu Fer.
As my visits with Maury go on, I begin to read about that. No different cultures view the final passage. There is a try in the North American
Arctic.
Arctic, for example, who believe that all things on earth have a soul that exists in a miniature form of the body that holds it, so that a deer has a teeny deer inside it, and a man has
Is a man y luego has a tiny man.
inside him. When the large being dies, that Teeny from leaves on it can sigh into something being born.